It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege of interviewing the Fairfield's assistant swimming coach, Emma Brown. How are you doing today?
Good, thank you. Thanks for having me on today.
Thank you. Can you talk about how you knew that you want to get started in coaching in college swimming?
Yeah, so I swam competitively for about 15 years. And during that time, along with swimming, I also had a little bit of coaching experience, starting just in high school, helping out during like the younger kid sessions at meets. I would help out where I could as a volunteer position. And then making my way through college, I was a head coach of a country club. And then as I was in college swimming, I just realized that, the energy on the pool deck in the college setting is something that I want to keep experiencing, not just for 4 years, but hopefully for as my career. So that's kind of how I figured that I wanted to continue and have that be my career path.
What was that experience like going to college and competing in swimming?
Going to college and competing in swimming was the best experience I could have asked for. I met all of my lifetime best friends at Adelphi swimming there, and being able to have the opportunity to represent my school in the Northeast 10 conference was always so awesome each year. I know that being able to swim in college also helps you pass your academics, such as getting jobs and just learning life lessons. So I absolutely love that experience.
At Adelphi, what was that like getting to represent them and putting on a swim cap for them?
Yeah, so Adelphi is a pretty small Division II school. It's very family-like. It's small enough to where everyone kind of knows each other. And along with that, our swim team was pretty small. I'd say we were under about 30 to 35 swimmers on both men's and women's side. So we spent a lot of time together. We had a little 4-lane pool. But it was always so exciting hosting swim meets there and just having great energy. And then along with that, just being able to maybe, take down some records with my teammates and be able to represent the school in that way.
During your time, what was that like setting records for the school, and do you still hold them to this day?
Good question. It was always fun being able to break a few records. I would say the records that I broke, especially within the relays with my other teammates, was always my favorite. However, I do still hold the 200 butterfly record for the school, and I believe I hold a few of the freestyle relay records still.
What is that experience like now, seeing after your college time, seeing that your records are still hold and some may still be broken?
Um, I always hope that the team will get faster. So each year when it comes around this time of championship season, I usually try to keep up just to see their improvements. And I'm always so proud when I see maybe one of my records broken, or just seeing people, get faster each year. So that's always so much fun to see.
For you, what was that transition like going from being a swimmer to getting into coaching and first going to LIU?
Yeah, good question. So when I graduated initially, it was right at the beginning of COVID in 2020. So I was kind of stuck what I wanted to do next. During that summer leading into the fall, I didn't know if I wanted to continue my education and get my master's. However, kind of doing everything online didn't really speak to me much. So I kind of put that on the back burner, and I picked up a gig at the local JCC where I was an aquatics director and the head swim team coach there. So I learned a lot there. And then I got an opportunity to move to New York City from Albany to coach with my prior coach from Adelphi, who moved over to Long Island University. So that's where I started my college coaching career. And it was a big learning experience, but I loved the athletes. And I learned a ton while I was there for the 2 years.
What was that experience like being on the pool deck as an assistant coach at LIU?
Yeah, so when I first started, I was pretty close in age to a lot of the swimmers. So it was a little interesting to create kind of like that boundary between, maybe they're 22 and I'm 23. So creating that boundary, like I'm your coach, not your friend. That was something that I kind of had to balance out. I take much pride in that. So making sure that I understood what was expected of me from my head coach, in terms of season planning, recruitment, and the administration side. Um, I am a quick learner and I want to make sure that I do it correctly. So going through all of that and just being able to follow it correctly, again, was a big learning curve, but I was so happy that I got the opportunity to start a Division I program, and get some experience from that.
What was that experience like coming to Raleigh, North Carolina, and being a part of the Raleigh Swim Association?
Yeah, so I spent a year in North Carolina. My boyfriend's actually he originally went to school there for college. So we had visited a lot. My family visited there a lot. So having the opportunity to kind of get back to the basics of coaching club and age group swimming gave me a year to hone my skills, get more of a foundation on technique, and kind of like the basics. Because when you come to college, usually those student athletes are pretty well set in how they swim. So, kind of getting back to the basics with those younger athletes was a great learning experience for myself.
For you, what was that transition like going from coaching on the club level to getting back to the college level and coming to Fairfield?
Yeah, so even though I loved my time at RSA, I kept having that itch like, ooh, I want to get back into college coaching so bad. Um, I would say the experience, how it's set up year to year, college coaching, kind of from September to March, and just grinding for those few months, and then seeing the results at the end is, even though it's very hard work, it's such an exciting feeling. And working with athletes who are specializing in their events, and representing their school is just a little bit different of an energy compared to coaching club. Although club coaching is very, very rewarding, especially seeing those younger athletes make huge time drops or just being exciting to complete an event without getting disqualified, or just experiencing their first meet is always so rewarding. So I wouldn't say that I did not like club coaching. I really did. It's just that college coaching just really had a place in my heart that I wanted to get back to.
For you, what was that feeling like stepping onto the pool deck for the first time at Fairfield?
I was very excited. Coach Jake, who's my head coach, he was so warm and welcoming, along with the administration in our athletic department. I felt very confident in coming in and supported. So getting onto the pool deck and meeting all 55 student athletes was really exciting to see how they operate. They're very much family oriented and very supportive of each other. So having that already as a basis coming in was so excellent.
What does a typical swim meet look like for you as a coach?
Yeah, so if we look at a swim meet that we're hosting personally, we usually start pretty early, around 8 a.m., getting in and making sure that things are set up. The touch pads are in, everything's set up for the diving section. Our swimmers will come in and warm up for about an hour. And then our divers will warm up and then have their competition, which takes about an hour. And then we warm up a little more for the swimming portion. And then we hop in usually around like 11 or noon to start the swim portion of the meet. And that lasts about 3 hours. And, a lot of our meets this past season kind of came down to the wire in those last few events, to see who was going to win the meet. And just seeing them be so resilient was really exciting to watch and be a part of.
As a college swim coach, what is it like getting to coach both the men's side and the women's side in swim?
Yeah, I love coaching like the co-ed team. I know some programs might just have like a women's only program, but having both, they just bring different energies, but they're also very exciting. And I think that they feed off of one another, and it's very nice, especially at this institution, that on both sides they're so supportive of one another. They see each other as one team, not just like a men's and a women's team. So being able to have a combined coaching staff lead both of them together is a lot of fun.
Can you talk about, of course, the culture that you started to help to build for the Fairfield swimming program?
Yeah, so in terms of tradition, I would say they have their own set of traditions that they've carried out and continued, such as like their cheers before and after meets, and during meets. They also have little traditions that they do amongst each other, in terms of just like team building. But something that I really like, that Coach Jake brought in, was that after each meet weekend, we kind of do like a recap on Wednesday before our combined practice, and we kind of do shout outs and kind of review, especially if the meet was close, kind of just recap that and relive the excitement of it. So that's something that I really have enjoyed, pretty much each week that we do.
So far in your coaching experience, what have been some of the things you've been able to accomplish at Fairfield?
I would say that we share our accomplishments, Jake and I. Most of our practices we collaborate on, and each week we switch our groups who we're working with so that we're able to create our relationships with our student athletes, so that we're not just specializing in one group and we only know, at LIU, I could say that, I had multiple top 8 finishes in the distance events because that's what I specialized in. But here, Jake and I kind of share our accomplishments, which is really fun. And our men's team got third at our MAC conference, and our women's team got second overall at our MAC conference. And it was just really exciting to see them, you know, compete for their goals and see how they could do at the end of their hard year of training. We also got multiple MAC weekly honor mentions throughout the year, so that was always awesome. And then our men's team got a 3.5 overall GPA in the fall, and our women got a 3.7 again in the fall. So we take a lot of pride in their academics as well.
What does that recruitment process look like for those prospective student athletes? And as a coach, what do you look at in them?
Yeah, so I think swimming is a little bit different than other sports. The time really speaks for itself. So I can go online and kind of type in and see what we're looking for specifically and determine like what range of times we're looking for and what event we're looking to replace for the next year. And then I also get a lot of outreach from student athletes in my email who express interest in Fairfield. And being able to talk on the phone with those prospective student athletes is always so fun to hear them talk about their experience so far in the recruitment process. I know it can be really daunting sometimes, but I usually try to make them as comfortable as possible. And if they had any questions, to not be scared, even if it isn't pertaining specifically to Fairfield, but maybe the recruitment process, because everyone's kind of doing it for the first time. So no questions are dumb. So I usually set up a phone call initially if they kind of rank in the time standards that we look for based off of our MAC conference. And then as we're talking through the phone call, I usually go through my little spiel about our team, what the culture's like, how our practices operate. And then I go through a little bit about student life and, go through their academic side and maybe what life would look like living on campus. And then we talk about our next steps just in terms of maybe an official visit, an unofficial visit, or get to meet the team on Zoom. something like that. I usually try to make as many opportunities for our recruits to get to know the team so that they know that this is a place that they'd want to be.
As an assistant coach, what is it like seeing those freshmen put on that swim uniform for Fairfield for the first time?
Yeah, so since this has been my first season, and unfortunately I didn't recruit this past class that came in, it was still really fun to see them experience swim meets with the team for the first time. I think them feeling the overwhelming support, I also experienced at the same time as them being new. But this upcoming class in the fall, I'm really, really excited for, and for them to continue our traditions and be a part of it.
What is that going to be like to get to see those seniors putting on that Fairfield swim uniform for the last time?
Yeah, so we had our senior meet in January, and they were all teary-eyed. And their 4 years, they had a few coaching changes. So just to be able to be a part of that as their last year was really special. And then going into MAC championships, just seeing them give everything they had left and finish off their 4 years how they wanted to, and just bask in their success was such a special moment to be able to share with them.
As a coach, what is it like seeing them go on and getting into college coaching or coaching swimming or even competing professionally in swimming?
Yeah, so I always say that swimming is such a lifelong sport. You don't even have to compete in it. You can always incorporate it into your daily exercise. But I think even though some of our, some swimmers, they've been swimming so long and their face is in the water for so long, they say, "Oh, I'm done. I'm never touching a pool again." But I think that always stays with you being in the water. So I know personally I often get in the pool, but the coaching side, I always advocate, even if you can, do it part-time with a club team or over the summer with a summer league. I think staying involved in the sport will only grow it and just add more support to it. So if you can incorporate it in any aspect of your life, I think that would fulfill yourself and help others.
What are some of your future plans for the swimming program for Fairfield moving forward?
Yeah, I would say our future plans would just continue to strive to be at our best and compete at our best level, and never back down from any of the competition that we're set up against. I mean, we were set up against some pretty challenging teams throughout the year, so being able to maintain that year to year and just strive to be better than before, that's my boss's quote, so better than before, is something that we're definitely going to strive for. And just seeing how we can recruit year to year to still compete with our top contenders in our conference is going to be important for us. And along with that, just continuing on the academic side to support our athletes and make sure that they're set up in the best position at the end of their 4 years and graduate.
What advice would you have those incoming freshmen entering their first year of college swimming?
Yes, sometimes I like to put myself in their shoes and try to remember what it was like being a freshman, because sometimes that can be really daunting, especially if you don't know anyone at the institution or on the team. And I would say to really take it all in and cherish all the 4 years, because those 4 years are going to go by super fast.
What advice would you give those juniors looking to be rising seniors and leading the program?
Yes, that is a hard role to take on. I myself was a captain for 2 years at my school, junior and senior. So kind of taking on that responsibility to, collaborate with the coaching staff and then also be able to manage being a teammate as well can be sometimes hard to balance. But we have some great leadership already since our seniors have ended their swim careers. We actually did this past weekend. We were at the ECAC championship at the Naval Academy, and we only had one captain there with us. So being able to have people step up in those roles, even though maybe it's not an official role for them yet, has been great to see that they want to take that on, and they're willing to begin that responsibility, whether they're named it in the fall or not. So being able to see that makes us really prideful, because it means that, those seniors have kind of instilled that in the underclassmen to continue and lead and grow the program.
What advice would you give those swimmers that have aspirations of competing professional swimming for the national team?
Yeah, so I would say that if that is something that an athlete wants to do, that needs to come with a plan and collaborate with the coaching staff to understand how we can take the steps to get there. Sometimes it's not, black and white, this is what you do and you get there. I think a lot of it comes within yourself as the athlete. If this is something you want to do some research, collaborate with your coaching staff, talk with other athletes that might have done the path that you're looking for, and see what would be the best options for them.
What advice would you give those future assistant coaches looking to get started in coaching on the college swimming level?
Yeah, so sometimes I know a lot of coaches come in into the collegiate realm right after their undergrad year, and they kind of do like a grad assistant position, or maybe they come from club and they have a great connection to a college coach, and such as myself, that's what I did, and they come in. And I think a lot of our job is coaching on deck, but a lot of it is the administration work and supporting our head coach in the aspects that they can't always get to. So being able to kind of be on cleanup duty, or like just kind of take that off of their plate, can be really helpful. So always ask questions, make sure that you guys are on the same page communicating, especially if you're new to the position. If there's any trainings that you can do within your administration department, I would definitely advocate for that. And then just getting to know other coaches in the department can help a lot as well, because they're also going through the same thing as you.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you on social media along with the program app?
Yeah, so you can find me at Swim Coach Emma on Instagram.
Where can my listeners find the program at on social media also?
Oh, you can find us at Fairfield Swim Dive on Instagram.
Thank you again, Coach Emma Brown, for your interview, and best of luck in your future at Fairfield as the assistant swimming coach.
Thank you so much, Brandon. It was great talking to you.
Thank you. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Emma Brown, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.